Hi, my name is Kelly Ross, and this is Learning Short. And today we're talking about private sector initiatives that are helping jewelers, police, and the public. My guest today is Catherine Alexander from the Watch Register. She's in business development and recoveries at the Watch Register. And Catherine has been a part of the United Kingdom luxury jewelry and watch trade for over 25 years. Throughout her career, Catherine has been a representative of many well-known luxury watch and jewelry brands, including Rolex, Patek Philippe, Cartier, Chopard, just to name a few. Catherine is also a qualified gemologist, diamond expert, and registered valuer. Over the vast expanse of her career, Catherine had experienced firsthand a plethora of jewelry and watch-related crime, and coupled with a passion for due diligence and ethics, this drove her decision to want to work at the Watch Register. Thanks for joining me today, Catherine. And
Thanks for having us.
yeah, it's really appreciate you lending us your time in your busy schedule, and I want to get right into this. So we've been talking about you know unique initiatives that are out there right now that assist the public, assist the industry, and assist police. The Watch Register is one of those initiatives. Can you tell me about the Watch Register and exactly how it works in that respect?
Absolutely. So the Watch Register is the largest searchable international database for lost and stolen watches. We work with jewelers, independent retailers, auction houses, police forces, and insurers globally. And we offer a series of, or we off, what we offer is pre-transaction checks for the trade. So that means that before purchase, any member of the trade can perform a check with us simply by, and it could not be simpler to go to the Watch Register and set up an account. So just head on over to www.thewatchregister.com and you can be set up with an account inside of 5 minutes to make your search. So what would happen from there is you're going to put in some basic bits of information about the watch in front of you, the make, model, serial number. And what we will do is, if that watch is clear and has a clean history, we will provide for the trade a certificate which shows your due diligence, that shows that you have done the very best that you can do to check the history of that watch. Now, that's great for the trade itself. Hopefully, if there is a problem with something, we can stop you purchasing it in the first place and stop any financial loss. It's about reputational loss as well, and we came into existence as part of the Art Loss Register over 30 years ago as a protection for the trade, and that's still very much one of our core values. So our database has over 700,000 items in total. Of that, 70,000 of those items are exclusively watches. So we have a huge resource here. We cover all major brands. So I would say anything that has a unique serial number and is around about 1,600 Canadian dollars in value. We always say around about 1,000 Great British pounds. So whatever that is at the point that you're watching this in relation to exchange rates. Very sorry, I don't have the crystal ball on that one. So really, if we want to talk about in terms of brands, we have over 850 different brands covered on our database. So, if there is a value to that item and somebody's missing that watch, it can certainly go onto the database.
That's fantastic.
We actually started as a company to kind of bring a little bit more sense and clarity to this. The Watch Register was born out of our parent company, the Art Loss Register. The Art Loss Register started over 30 years ago as a database for lost and stolen collectibles, works of art, items of jewelry, watches, anything really that was uniquely identifiable and had a value. We got to around about 2014, and in response to a sharp upturn in watch theft and watch crime, including sort of financial crimes and money laundering, we identified that there was a very real need for the trade to be able to do these due diligence checks. And yeah, at the same time, we understood that our method of doing this for the art industry actually worked far too slowly for the watch industry. And instead of giving those results in perhaps days, we needed to be able to get those results delivered within minutes. So when you use our services now, you will get a result within 5 minutes. So, you know, we are very fast, very efficient, very easy to use.
That's spectacular. My thoughts are just sort of flying in different directions on all of this, and but what I'm curious about is identifying features. You know, things like diamonds nowadays, larger stones, high value ones are often serial numbered. But what is it about watches that make them identifiable, and what do you guys collect in terms of data around the watches?
So the relief here is that watches are so much simpler than jewelry to identify. So really it's 3 basic pieces of information. So we're going to need the make of the watch, the model of the watch, and the serial number. It can be helpful to know if there are any engravings or personal inscriptions on the item, you know, and I would encourage, if you are checking an item to make a search, please make a note of those details and do include it in the search.
Yeah, for sure. And now that information around identification of the watch itself, like the serial numbers and the model that you're talking about. But what about identifying the owner? What do you collect? How do you get a watch back to an owner? Or how do you marry those things up?
So we are very fortunate that we work with international police forces. We work with global insurance companies, auction houses, private individuals and businesses. So we will take a loss registration from anybody. And again, the process of registering that loss is as simple as going to our website. So www.thewatchregister.com, signing up for an account. And you know, you're very welcome to speak to us, but if you'd like to do that unassisted, you can just go on to there. We will upload those details. Now, from there, what we are relying on is clients doing their due diligence checks, their pre-purchase checks, and we sit and wait for a match to happen.
Yes.
At the point that the match happens, we will then reach out to either a police force or the individual that has made that registration, just depending on the circumstances of whether this is a crime, whether it's a fraud case, or whether it's actually a more civil case.
Right, that's fantastic. So I just want to sort of walk those steps forward again. So a jeweler, and you talked about this a little bit at the front end, would to utilize your service, they would first of all establish an account or register with the watch register, and then after that it's pretty easy for them to access and go and input data about a particular watch that they might have that they want to check against the database. Is that how it works?
Absolutely. So the checks are one side of it, you know, and that's when we're talking about protecting, you know, those trade clients, both financially and reputationally. And on the flip side of that, you know, if they experience a loss, again, they're able to just go into their account and register that loss. Now, one really important thing to note here is the speed in which these things travel. These watches travel after a crime. Very often we will have a match happen on the database just days after the crime has happened. So one really important thing to bear in mind here is the quicker that you can get the information to us, the more effective our service is going to be for you. So, obviously, yes, police first, but definitely the watch register second, to give yourselves the best chance of, one, recovering that property, and two, if something terrible has happened, please let us provide the police with leads that are going to be so important to catching the perpetrators of this.
That's awesome. It's what you're talking about is really inventory as well, and inventory control. And we've been having lots of discussions around it, because that is so important to helping police and police following up on stolen property, is having that list, and how quick that list can get to police, and obviously how quick it can get to the watch register.
Absolutely. Let me use other people's misery here to encourage you to do this. I've spoken to numerous people, and that are still collating this information weeks down the line. And it's not that we can't help at that point, but we're far more effective if we can have that information within a few days. I know it's a pain in the rear end, but get those inventory sorted so that you're in a position to do something about it if the worst is to happen.
I love that. That's great advice. So, and now we've been talking about jewelers using this, but police use it too, and they regularly use it from around the globe. So can you tell me a little bit how police would access it as well and utilize it as well?
Absolutely. So we work with international, or as I say, global police forces. And again, there is a two-way stream of, we allow the police or any law enforcement agencies to use our services absolutely free of charge, because our overall aim here is to drive down watch and jewellery crime, and certainly to make it as hard as we possibly can for those stolen items to move. So we have great relationships with the New York Police Department. We've worked with the FBI. We have a very special relationship with the Metropolitan Police in the UK as well. Very strong connections. And again, over 30 years of building those connections with the police, that also means that we have those connections to get very good results for our clients that have had a loss. We know the right processes. We know, who to pass that on information on to get fast time results for the police and for the victims of crime.
This is awesome. What a great service you provide to the industry, to the public and the police. And I just see the value of this growing exponentially over time, especially given the propensity for watches in particular being stolen, and then moving those things internationally as stolen commodities do.
Absolutely. It's a great way as well, Kelly. And what I would say to everybody out there is, our system doesn't work without the trade, without private individuals, without the police forces, and without those insurance companies using the database for due diligence checks and for those registrations. We sit here as a hub for all of that information to come together, and it is very valuable. It's a great resource. So just to give you an example, we already look after over 1,000 watch businesses internationally, and that is everything from the large online platforms, so Watchfinder, Crown and Caliber, through to those well-known high street brands such as Watches of Switzerland, all the major auction houses, so Christie's, Sotheby's, Bonhams, Phillips, and just about, in every country, their main regional auction houses as well. So, you can see the scope of, if a watch is to appear anywhere within the legitimate market, hopefully we are in the best position to identify that as a match.
That's spectacular. Catherine, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your expertise, and details about the watch register. This is such a valuable service for everybody involved. And again, your time here today has been very valuable to us all.
Thank you, Kelly.